Here it is, our abandoned 2002 Suzuki SV650 project with 80,000 miles and a clean title that I just bought for $150 and a ride in a McLaren. This bike sat torn apart for almost 6 years, waiting for the previous owner to be put back together. But life happened and she never got finished, which brings it here to my garage. This bike is 24 years old and looks as dated as it possibly could. Old large rear end, plain straight swing arm, a massive 20-pound fiberglass muffler, the basic silver color that every 2000s bike came in. But overall, as long as it runs, it doesn't seem to have any big structural damage, just some scratches and dents and an awesome Batman windscreen. But I wanted to turn this thing into a freaking Ducati, something that could roll off the showroom floor today. And I didn't know it yet, but in this video, I'll accidentally prove, with a little imagination, any bike truly can be a dream bike. Don't even know if I'll use this footage, to be honest, but I'm on my way over to potentially look at a 2002 SV650. It's a very project. SV650. I don't even know if he'll let it go. So this is the Facebook listing I found earlier that day. 2002 Suzuki SV650 project, or crying face parts. Through the description, I could tell this guy loved this bike and didn't want to see it go to the scrap or get parted out. So while I didn't have much money to spend on a project, he said I'm more than welcome to come take a look at it when he gets home from work, and that the garage space really was more important than the money to him. So I went ahead and brought my truck over there, ready to help clear out his garage with a solid lowball offer. So I didn't do much filming when I was actually there. I didn't want to be like a YouTuber, you know, I just wanted to be a normal person. So when I got there and I kind of walked in the garage, just saw the bike for the first time, obviously the front wheel was off. It had been for 6 years. The brakes were all blown apart. So anyway, we talked about life. We talked about a bunch of stuff, just kind of miscellaneous things about the bike, what he knew about it mechanically, when he parked it, did it run, that kind of thing. Like, I knew I wasn't coming to offer $500 for this thing. I didn't really care if I got it or not. It was kind of a weird looking bike, and I knew it would require a lot of work to get it back on the road. So I came over hoping he was a really cool guy, would take a lower offer in exchange to seeing it get rebuilt and back on the road. And crazily enough, that's kind of what he wanted too. It's a cool bike, man. I know it's a project. I don't really want to lowball you, but I have $150 and I can help you assemble it here, and I can take it to my truck and get it out of your garage tonight. And if you have any projects around here that you need help with, I can absolutely come help you with any project to kind of, you know, as like a trade. It's kind of lower than what I was hoping for. It's not a no, but I have other people come in too, so I'll just see what they kind of offer and I'll let you know if it doesn't sell. But you know, the main thing here is I want to see it go to a good home. I want to see it get back on the road. I'd hate to see this thing parted out. So I actually have a YouTube channel where I rebuild motorcycles just like this and make them look brand new. If you're interested to take my lower offer, you could at least see the thing get rebuilt, get back on the roads, and I'd totally be down to like take it back here and actually like let you ride it too. Oh dude, I am so down. He basically immediately said let's do it when he heard that. And it was really cool seeing somebody who like doesn't really care about the money. He cared more about the story of the bike than he did a couple $100 extra bucks. So with the deal made, we just started putting the bike back together. It took us probably about 30 minutes to get the bike back together enough to kind of roll it out to the truck and load it up. It didn't have brakes on it at all. It was just a straight roller. We rolled it to the truck, I strapped it down and headed home. Hey, wait, dude. I 100% was not sure how this night would go. Alex, the owner, was super chill. He gave me a killer deal in exchange for watching it get rebuilt. I'm gonna give him one last ride on it when it's finished as well, so he can say his farewells to it. I'm excited to get started on this project. Let's get it home, get it washed up, see what happens. So that night, I found him on Instagram and saw this.
I sold a motorcycle for $150 and a ride in a McLaren. Some YouTuber hit me up on Marketplace and he came to take a look at it and brought his truck and kind of like, you know, I was like, I don't want to lowball, but like, you know, it's a project, and it's like, I'm gonna, you know, the plan is to like restore it on YouTube and, you know, fix it up and all that. And it's like, tell you what, I'll bring it back by, you can give it one last ride, which was a huge selling point because I do miss that thing and it would be fun to give it one more ride. But he's like, hey, I'll throw in, like, give you a ride in a McLaren. Like, yeah, dude, like, you know what? Like, I don't really care that much about the money. Let's fucking go. That sounds dope.
So that was the deal. Time to get this thing unloaded and build to impress. appreciate you stopping. Yeah, if you just want to hold it upright, and I'll just let it go. All right. So much easier. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Thanks for helping me out. What was your name?
Brent.
Brent.
So this is a 2002 Suzuki SV650. It's a 24-year-old carbureted V-twin that produces 70 horsepower and 49 foot-pounds of torque. It has a top speed of 131 miles per hour and a 0 to 60 time of 3.4 seconds.
All right, let's get to work. Let's get this thing running. Hopefully gonna see this thing on the road soon again, 24 years later. Wow, what a difference already. When Alex gets a ride on this thing for the last time, he's not gonna recognize this thing. I'm gonna make it so cool. It's gonna be blown away and he'll regret selling it for 175. All right, well, here she is all washed up, dude. This is a great blank slate to start like a very, very cool rebuild. Now, obviously this isn't like a super desirable bike. I mean, 24-year-old 2-cylinder Suzuki, probably high mileage too. You know, he said 88,000 miles. So I'm excited to fire up the odometer to see the exact count. Nothing looks crazy damaged, just some things scraped up, scratched up here and there. Probably build a custom tail for it. Definitely modify some of this front end here, maybe fit a nice clean headlight right in front. Probably even paint the frame, but we'll see how crazy we go on this thing. I have a brand new battery for it, and we'll fire up the odometer, see the actual mileage, and we'll try to crank it up, see if it'll start. Lots of thoughts and prayers and well wishes are very appreciated here. Chances are I'll be cleaning out some carburetors. Undoing the first bolts of the project. See what we got under here. It's clean in here. Besides there's grass growing, but besides that, it's clean. Just kind of pops off. Hey, there's a loose screw in here. Check that out. I wonder where that goes. Respect though, he didn't lose it. Okay, that's a tight hole. I've never taken out or inserted anything into a hole that tight. All right, new eBay special battery. Well, this is it. The bike is officially active now. We even got a free USB-C cable out of this deal. This will tell us if it's a good running bike or not. Oh, it fired up. 80,679 miles on this bad boy. Wow, look at that. Let's see if high beams work. Even the headlights are wired in correctly, dude. Every bike I've bought from a previous owner who like street converted it, they always mess up the wiring in the headlights. Turn signals even work? No way. Freaking Batman would have been proud of this thing, dude. Tail light even works, and it's actually not broken too. Wow. So I am genuinely impressed here. I'm assuming the gas was never drained. Yeah, it smells like pretty sketchy gas, that's for sure. But it is gas nonetheless, and there is most of a tank in there. I got a full tank of gas on this thing too. And dude, there's like almost no rust in here. That is insane to me. Boy, howdy. Anyway, I'm gonna try firing it up. Can always hope, right? The least stand turn friendly bike I've ever experienced in my life. Let's check the oil. There's literally no oil coming into the viewport. I'm just gonna make sure it turns over though, and then I'll put some oil in it. That sounds healthy. All right, I'm satisfied. Let's put some oil in it. It's a runner probably. Oh yeah, there's oil in here. It was used. Not much though. It's probably only got 100 or 200 maybe miles on it. All right, K&N baby. Put some oil in there and see if it'll fire up. All right, boom. Total time, 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Nice, for an oil change. Ready? All right, whoa, that was crazy. All right, the time has officially come to try to crank this thing up. There's very little chance it's actually going to start, but hey, we're gonna just try. We'll see what happens. It's old gas is in it. The carburetors get plugged up after a couple months of sitting. This thing's been sitting like 5 or 6 years, so I'm not expecting much out of it, but no harm in trying. Yeah, it's not gonna fire up. Here goes a carb cleaning. Lame. I was really hoping. Forgot that there's actually like a physical choke on this thing. Let's see if opening the choke up will help. I'm not expecting it to. Dude, I am actually in disbelief right now. No way. There is absolutely no way. It runs so smooth. There is no way I just got this for 175 bucks. It literally just fired right up. And this is freaking gonna run no problem. And this is on like bad fuel too. That sounds good. Yeah, it would ride right now. Now that we know that this thing runs great, which is still a massive shock to me, we can start stripping it down for paint and just change the look of this thing. And that's really all it needs. I want to repair some of the minor damage that's here and there, and then just take all the old stuff off and replace it with new stuff. This bike will be 100% different. It won't even be the same bike when we're done with it. Let's get to it. Let's do it. I still cannot believe this. How? Oh, wow, hello. There we go, wow. Whole exhaust is off already. Very nice. I will say this is an easy bike to work on. Wow. So nothing really to it much, really, seriously. I am going to do a permanent passenger foot peg removal on this project. Since we all know bikers don't get girls anyway, I'm saving the next rider some trouble. It's not worth it, kings. It's not worth it. Wow, okay. I don't know how to take the rear seat off, but we shall figure it out. Wow, just like that. Amazing. Lots of wiring in here, but it actually looks OEM. I love this. This is so nice. This is the exact opposite of my last project. Underglow. So if I just kind of tidy up and compress the tail end here for a more modern look, I think that'll be freaking sweet. So I think that's the game plan. We could just easily move all this stuff just kind of inside here, put a more modern tail light maybe on here from like an R6 or an R1. I think that'd be pretty sweet. So let's get all this wiring disconnected out of the way. We'll make some cuts and we'll start forming a custom tail. Some old guy out there is like cringing right now. How dare he chop the stock, beautiful frame of one of those old bikes.
All right, let's get started on fabrication of the tail end. First, I have to create a subframe, which you see me doing here. Then I can make a fiberglass fairing to cover it. And everything here was eyeballed. There's nothing scientific about this. This is a lot of extra work for such a cheap bike. And dude, what a clean look this is. It was kind of this moment when I actually started to fall in love with the bike a little bit. And now it's time to move everything from the outside to the inside of the new subframe. And that came out perfect. Everything fits great. Next up, it's time to clean up the subframe. I'm gonna try something right now that I've never tried before. I have some fiberglass experience, but right now I'm gonna try to make a full custom fairing for the rear end of this bike out of foam and fiberglass. It's the first time I'm ever using the spray foam, and I have a little bit of fiberglass experience, but not very much at all. And it's been a long time since I've done fiberglass, so we'll see how it turns out. Let's get to work.
All right, well, that first attempt did not go as planned. Yeah, I did not realize how sticky it was gonna be, which is good for what we want, but until it sticks and hardens, it just is freaking falling everywhere. I am going to put plastic all under this. I'm gonna spray all the foam, then we'll wrap the plastic around it. I think that'll be a lot smarter. Let's go ahead and try it. Wish me luck. Yeah, I will mark this down as a great learning experience. I learned you just gotta do it in small sections and let it dry between layers. You can't just slap it on all at once. But I eventually built it up enough to start trimming down to shape. The fiberglass is dry, and that was a fight, that's for sure. I had not done fiberglass for a while, and it shows. I mixed the first layer of fiberglass way too thin, so I didn't put enough hardener in it. And so the whole time I was fighting like a very liquidy underlayer. But I mixed a ton of hardener in the next coat and kind of plastered it on there. But because the first layer was so mushy, it actually started pulling the tape away, and so it wasn't sticking in its shape very well. So I got the heat gun out, I mixed up a really hard layer of hardener, and I was just blasting it with heat and pushing it to try to keep the shape. But overall, the shape turned out great, so that's all that matters. But yeah, it was a very rough first go at fiberglass again. But I'm not gonna cut corners here. I'm gonna sand it all down, fresh layer of fiberglass, and yeah, move on from there. This tail end modification was a long project so far, and I'm not quite there yet, but I think the hardest part is done on it. And dude, it just makes the bike look so much cooler. It might not have been worth all the effort to modify it like this, but I think it's super cool. And a bike that normally wouldn't look super great, it actually looks really cool now. I'm gonna be really proud of this thing when it's done. Just hoping this comes off cleanly. Yeah, there's still lots of liquid underneath this, I can see. That's not cool at all. And hopefully it even comes off. I didn't realize this shape might not actually allow it to come out, but we shall see. That is a battle we will fight when we get to it, which is right now. This custom rear end was a really tough project. It may not seem like it, but it's taking several days to finish, and it's not really fun work to be doing. But man, did I learn a lot, and very quickly can roll this skill into the next projects. And I think you'd be surprised how expensive this was. We're talking like a few $100s of fiberglass, foam, and paint materials. You have to be pretty committed to do a project like this. To finalize bodywork before paint, I was this close to trying to fit full engine cover fairings on the front end. I had some old Yamaha R1 fairings laying around that I modified, and I really did love how it came out, but I ended up not going through with it. This bike looks so much better with full fairings. I don't think I'll roll with this though, and I'd have to get really creative with how this mounts down here, so I don't think it's worth it at this point. I'll just get a belly pan later on and paint it the same color. So then that does it. We're ready for paint, finally. I did the last few modifications and cuts before inflating the paint booth and getting to work. All right, the time has officially come for paint. Gonna go ahead and use some adhesion promoter to start this off. All right, next up. All right, next up for the actual color, we're using the Duplicolor metal specs. Pretty dang expensive stuff. And everyone online said the nozzle sucked. And yeah, the nozzle wasn't even connected. The nozzle popped right out when I opened the cap. So yeah, it's a nice color. I tested already. But if I can't spray it, then frick. Yeah, it's actually broken. Like this nozzle doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't go on. I guess I'm running the store.
So that really messed up drying times and created a couple sections of spattering paint, close to ruining the paint job halfway into it. And I barely saved this one. I love the color, but you have to check the caps on those cans before you buy them.
All right, next up I'm using the Duplicolor 1K Clear Extreme Gloss Finish, high gloss finish. We'll see how it does. Oh, dude, this is looking good now. All right, we saved this.
All right, this color looks awesome. I am so glad I didn't give up and I was able to save this paint job. So I painted the exhaust and other accessories, then moved on to the hardest part, the frame.
And look, I know this is kind of an unorthodox way to paint the frame, but I was not about to be dropping the whole engine out of this project. But yeah, anyway, frame is pretty much ready. I need to mask off some stuff and then let's get painting.
So this is it, the one thing that will completely change the presence of this bike. I absolutely love the frame design. It's the thing that made this build worth doing. It's very similar to a Ducati frame, and it just makes it look like a much higher end bike. And I was gonna go a lot crazier with the frame to make it stand out, like paint it red or bronze to really set it apart. But I thought in this case, less is probably more. I think a colored frame would just scream DIY, and it seems like a try-hard attempt to be creative, so I didn't do it. This whole custom rear end and paint job took me almost 2 weeks. I know it may not seem like a huge job, but man, I dumped some time into it.
All right, everything on the frame has been painted, finally. So next just comes to unwrapping it and putting it all back together. I still need to paint the subframe and a couple other things, but I can do that while it's off the bike. And so I want to just get it out of this paint booth so I can deflate it tonight, let this kind of cure as I paint the rest of the stuff. So let's do it. This is the first time I've ever seen it, painted black frame. Oh man, this thing's gonna look so good. I 100% forgot that the previous owner actually included brake rotors and brake pads that he bought in the sale as well. Man, he just like threw in everything he had with the bike. we are finally on to reassembly. This thing is looking already incredible. I'm very excited to start putting this thing back together. A little bit of wiring here and there for the headlight and the taillight, but that's pretty much it. It's ready just to put back together and to finally ride it for the first time. I've never ridden this bike yet, and so let's start working towards it. Let's do it. These handlebar weights are super over tightened and completely stripped out. So I'm resorting to a screw extractor. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh frick, look, whoa dude, I got lucky on that. Wow, sharpest razor blade I have ever used. All right, we're about to take this into the 21st century. That is freakishly tight. Wow, this is by far the tightest hole I've ever put it in before. Freaking seriously. Did something just break? Pretty sure something just broke. Yeah, I took the cover off and you guys can see clutch cable is indeed popped out. Put the lever in first and then we'll reconnect this. With the chain finally on, we can move on to installing all the last little accessory pieces. Let's modify this thing a little bit. Just carry this line all the way up here like this. How does that sound? All right, much better. That looks so much better. I was just wondering what I was gonna do for a muffler to make it look a lot better than the old one. Luckily, I remembered a long time ago, I actually bought mufflers, universal mufflers for a project I had going on. I actually ordered all the parts I needed for the BMW K100 build. We're talking a couple years ago, and they've been sitting in this box ever since. So we have a few different options. Also, I just realized along the lines of parts, I realized earlier today that I'm gonna need to use an aftermarket gauge cluster. I was gonna roll with the old one to keep the stock mileage and stuff, but it is just so ugly. I'd have to really make it work and it would ruin the entire look of the bike. And if I'm putting this much work into it, it better be freaking good. Here is the stock gauge cluster. I think it would just end up ruining the overall look of the bike. So I actually ordered one that should be here today, Amazon, like same day delivery. Never had to do this before, but I actually have to rebuild this master cylinder. The plunger is stuck in, and the bleeder valves on the calipers were completely plugged. So this system being open for so long made all the old brake fluid kind of just harden up. Yeah, it's really seized up. I think that spring is probably non-existent in there. That is exactly what we needed. Yes, I think we're back in business. Man, I was pumping it for a solid couple minutes here. Open and close, and we just got the first signs of life. Brake fluid, oh, there's chunks coming out of it. Oh wow, it's already coming out this side. I also came back tonight and realized we have a leak in the brakes. I think the plunger seal is shot. While we do have good brake pressure, the more you use the brakes, the more it starts dripping. Frame sliders first, figure out the brakes really quick, tail light install, rear fairing, headlight, gauges, and that should be it. Frame sliders. All right, time has come to upgrade the headlight. It comes with a halogen bulb. I bought an LED bulb for it. Whoa, look at this thing. Oh, that's actually quite bright. We 100% can roll with this one. Well, unfortunately I had to chop up that fairing a little bit, but I finally did get the seat to bolt in like it was stock. But now I need to do the thing I've never done before, is swap out an entire gauge cluster. All right, so here is the gauge cluster that we're gonna be using. You know, this gauge cluster actually has some mixed reviews on Amazon. It was only $19 plus tax, but the bad reviews that I read were actually that it's too small. So people thought it was gonna be bigger, but the smaller the better on this project. So I was like, that's exactly what we need. So yeah, anyway, I need to pull up a wiring diagram and we need to start splicing in some wires. I'm really hoping I can get this thing to work. All right, well, this is what I came up with, so let's get it wired in. This. Pretty sure I just blew a fuse. That is one very blown fuse. Look, and this one. And this one. That's crazy. We got new fuses in there. Let's try it again. A little bit nervous. I had both ground wires connected. Now I disconnected one. It works! Well, I'm happy to say that's done. So next up, let's get the exhaust put on here. I have the option of just doing like a straight out pipe just like this, which I don't hate. It's a good, clean look. But honestly, I think for this project, this like toast looking exhaust, I think it actually looks really, really cool on here. Well, it's officially done. She is done. Weeks working on this thing, shedding all the old parts, putting all the new parts on. Incredible. Next step is to get a fresh wash on this thing, make it look brand new, and then hopefully get it on the first ride. I've never ridden this thing yet, and I'm hoping it even fires up after all this. All right, I'm hoping everything's waterproof. It legitimately looks like a brand new bike. Dude, that's crazy. I think I've actually officially outdone myself on this one. This bike was $150. So I think tonight I'm gonna post on my Instagram story a video of like the first start in its old condition. So then he'll see that video. I'll DM him at the same time saying, hey, I just got your bike running. What are you up to tomorrow or whatever? So he's gonna come over here thinking it's like the same bike as when it left his garage. And then I'm gonna like freaking roll up the garage door. It could go either way, where he's like super happy that this bike got a new life. You know, that's what he wanted for the whole bike. That's why he sold it to me at such a low price. Or he could just hate me because it's an amazing bike now and I got it for 150 bucks. I don't know how it's gonna go. So I think next we need to get this thing fired up. Throw some gas in here, see if it'll fire up. I'm really hoping I like how this thing sounds, because it's basically straight piped. There's literally no restriction on it. All right, let's fire it back up. Yeah, RPMs are reading. Everything looks like it's solid, dude. Battery is reading. We're good. What a sick bike, man. It's the first time it's ridden for legitimately 5 years. I'm hoping it actually does ride. Maiden voyage. Wow, that clutch really bites. It does shift and stuff. Not bad. tires a lot. It definitely needs some tuning still. Like, I think it just needs to get ridden. I was sitting in a dude's garage for 5 years, and this was the first time it actually went on the street, burning off all the junk in the carbs. I'm excited, dude. It runs. It works. That's sweet, man. So that night, I cut some vinyl decals for the bike, and in preparation to ride it to the DMV in the morning, went ahead and made the finishing touches to the bike. I went ahead and threw on the other exhaust really quick. I'm gonna just see if I like that better. I actually kind of like this look. And if it's a little quieter, that would definitely be nice. That sounds a lot better. It's not obnoxiously loud. And I think it's kind of just a cleaner look, to be honest. This one's higher flow for sure. That one has a baffle in it. This one doesn't. Okay, that's barely held on there. That should work. Doesn't sound bad either. That one's definitely still loud though, like almost kind of too loud, you know? Yeah, it's kind of a little too loud. What a beautiful bike, man. We have the registration sticker. She's officially mine. $208 later. I'm excited, man. First legal ride on this thing. Maybe I'm just not used to 2 cylinders. Now that I'm getting a hang of how the throttle and clutch kind of operate together, I'm getting a lot better at it. You just have to have a little bit more throttle on it when you release the clutch, and it's nice and smooth. Dude, what a sick bike though. You know, I'm a huge fan of 4-cylinder bikes, but the sound of this bike and kind of just like the riding experience, it's really growing on me. $175 for this machine, plus a few hundred at least for a rebuild and 3 weeks of my time. But in the end, man, it seems like it's just a gorgeous bike. Runs great, looks great. Actually pretty fast too. Not bad. Yeah, it's quick, dude. It's quick. But man, mechanically this thing is solid. I'm so happy, man. What a sick bike. All right, you guys, it's a big day. Alex is headed over here right now, and he has no idea this bike looks like this. I posted that Instagram story a few days ago. He saw it thinking it's the same bike. He does not realize I just put 3 weeks of work into this thing. I'm so excited for his reaction. All right, you guys, this is Alex. This is the seller of the bike.
$150 and a ride to McLaren. That was the deal.
Before I open the garage up and let you see this thing, I want to let you know there are some modifications I've done to it. You said the biggest thing to you was that this bike gets back on the road. You didn't want to see it get parted out.
Yeah.
It's treated you well, and you've owned it since 2011.
Yeah.
And so you wanted to get it back on the road, and I kind of took that as a personal challenge. I wanted to make it look like a brand new bike. And so I've been working on it behind the scenes.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna have you do is just face this way.
Okay.
I'm gonna open the garage up. It's gonna be right behind you,
okay,
and I'll tell you when to spin around, all right?
Okay.
Alex, I wanna say one more time, thank you for taking a chance on me.
Oh, dude.
All right, are you ready to see this thing? I'll count you down.
All right, let's go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Three, 2, 1.
Oh, shit. What? Dude. Oh, she's gorgeous. Dude.
Were you expecting that?
No, not at all. This is sick. Oh, you even got the dent out of the tank. Oh, you got rid of that lawnmower exhaust. That's fantastic.
Yes, it sounds a lot better now. Oh, man.
You even got a new gauge cluster.
Oh, it's all new. I wired it all in.
Dude, this sounds so much better.
So good.
Feels so good to ride again.
There goes that.
This thing is so much faster than I remember.
So 2 months after the sale, Alex took his last ride on the bike. I can only imagine the 15 years of memories of this bike playing through his head the whole time.
What do you think?
This is absolutely insane. It feels so good. It feels so familiar and so much faster. It is exhilarating. Like you said, smiles per gallon. You nailed it on the head right there.
Thanks again, dude. I hugely appreciate you.
Oh, man.
Giving me this opportunity.
I'm so stoked that you did all this to it. I am so happy with it.
Oh, and then before I forget, I kept that for you. Framed.
That's awesome. That's a perfect little memento.
And of course, as promised, a ride in the McLaren.
All right, it's time, Alex. Let's go. Wow, what a difference already.
Man, what a journey. A bike that any rational person would have retired is back on the road, running great, and looks brand new. So there you have it. One more bike saved and back on the road. An insane result in the end. This bike has absolutely no business looking as good as it does, but I hope this is proof that any bike can be a dream bike with enough creativity and work. So as for me, I'm moving on to the next motorcycle rebuild coming soon. So stay tuned, subscribe, hit that like button. I'll catch you guys in the next one.